Hello everyone, welcome back to our My 2018 tutorial series. This is our airplane product we left off on, and in our last lesson we went through and was creating some of the environment. In the last lesson I did run into a little bit of an issue with the water here. I was trying to make the ocean shader, and I did make a mistake actually. I was trying to attach the ocean shader to the color attribute of the Lambert, which is wrong. Um, you want to actually create an ocean shader that will deal with everything. So I'm going to go ahead and create an ocean shader now. So I'll go ahead and click on the water, right mouse button, go to assign new material, and click on the ocean shader. There we go. So now things look a lot better. And this ocean shader is also animated. So if you press play, see that the water is bubbling and whatnot. You'll see inside the attributes that there's a lot of things in here you can play with as far as scale, wind speed, frequency, max and min on wave height, wave turbulence. There's a lot of stuff in here you can go ahead and tweak, but that's a lot of lesson, and that can pretty much suck up an entire lesson, and that's just not what we're going to be getting into today. If you guys want to play with it, I do encourage that, but I'm not going to be getting into it right now. Okay, so the ocean shader's in place. The next thing I want to do is to bring in some foliage. We'll go to the content browser. So underneath Windows, General Editors, and Content Browser. And I will start to navigate down here. We go to Paint Mesh or Paint Effects and scroll down to where it says Tree Mesh. And underneath the Tree Mesh, I'm just going to go ahead and let's grab a few of these guys here. Now keep in mind as you're making these that these take a lot of time to render and post effect. So this can get your render time, so don't go crazy with these. You can use these moderately. Also, the tree size is based off your brush size. So if you hold down B and make this little nucleus bigger or smaller, it will adjust how big your tree is for your scene. So with this size, that's what I get. You can see how it just disappeared. I did leave this on like this on purpose. Let's go ahead and get rid of these extra ones in the outliner. What happened is earlier in the lesson, underneath show, we had isolated it to just curves and polygons, so the paint effects aren't being shown. So I'm just going to turn on all so that now you can see it. So again, I'll go ahead and draw that again in there. Also, it's good to know that this is being drawn on the XZ surface. So when you get up higher in the on the mountaintop here, it won't be drawn. In a later lesson, I'll show you guys how to make this into a live surface so you can draw on it, but we're not going to be doing that in this lesson. So I just want to kind of simple. So as you click left mouse button and then just drag to the right, it'll create your tree. If your tree's not on the ground here, you can go ahead and just take the curve, take this guy here, and then just push it down to where it is seen where you want it to be at. And you can just go ahead and jump back into your stroke if you want and draw in another tree. Draw one in right here. Okay. And maybe I'll draw one more in. By one more, I mean a few more. And maybe one more up here. Okay. I'm going to center the pivot on them so I can manipulate them easier. And I'll just bring that one up over here. Take this one over here. Sure it's down to the geometry. Again, this guy I'm just going to bring it a little bit closer. Center the pivot on both of these guys. Just move them around until I see them stay in the geometry. And the pivot and move it over here. Now, something else you want to consider is that these leaves also have dynamics built into it, meaning that there will be some kind of breeze going on, meaning that all the trees and leaves will try to move the wind, which isn't a big deal, except for when you want to scrub your animations, it will make your processing slow down. So when you're happy with your look you have here, so let's say right now I'm happy. Let's just see how long it takes for this to render. I'm just going to go ahead and save just in case. Sometimes this takes a little bit more processing power than you're expecting. It can crash Maya. So let's go ahead and just do a quick render and make sure you have Maya software turned on. If you don't have Maya software turned on, then um, it will use Arnold, and Arnold won't render any of this stuff. Okay, so that's what we got. It took about 4 seconds to render, so that's not too bad. Let's see what it looks like without sRGB GAM on. A little less blown out. Okay. All right, so I'm content with that. I do want to have, so you can use the lighting you have currently in your scene, or you can create some of your own custom lighting. Since it's supposed to be kind of done from the sun, sometimes you might not necessarily want to have your own custom lighting, but if you want to have shadows, you're going to need your own lighting. So I'm going to go ahead and let's do, actually, let's just go to our render settings, let's turn on shadows. Let's see if the default lighting will give us some shadows. Let's also ramp up our quality, so we're going to bring this up to 1080. Okay, and underneath the top here, we're going to do ray tracing quality, turn on ray tracing, and let's just render and see if our default light will give us some shadows. Okay, so the trees aren't casting or receiving shadows, but that's kind of expected. But the water is receiving a shadow from the airplane, so that's good. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to set up a, oh, see, it flew right through those trees. So I don't want those trees right there, at least not that one. I'll set up some virtual cameras and get the render settings going so that I can actually render off a little animation. There we go. Okay, so creating a virtual camera, we're going to go to create, and we're going to do cameras and camera. Okay, so it pops there right there in the middle. I'm going to move this back a little bit and spin it around. I'm going to parent it into the controller here. So child first, parent second. Shift select the parent, hit P for parent. Now the camera is parented in, so it kind of behave a little bit like a GoPro camera now that's been mounted to the back of this airplane. So let's go ahead and jump into that view and see how that works for us. Go to perspective, camera one. Okay, so it's a little bit directly behind. Let's kind of get this angle kind of like this. Okay. And this camera can be animated too, so that'd actually be pretty smart. Let's go ahead and jump back out. Let's go to frame one. We'll hit S. And that way I can kind of, instead of being static as it's flying behind here, I can actually move it around and kind of make it feel like it has some physics to it and it's a little bit more animated. So we're going to go back to our camera perspective, camera one. So now as it's animating, say, just to break it up a little bit. Maybe not have it quite that far out. There we go. So as it's taken off, I'm going to just kind of pull it back again. Got another keyframe there. So then as it's going along, takes off. You see how the camera's kind of animated a little bit behind it now. So then once it goes over here, up to 200, maybe I'll have it kind of drop down. Let it get away a little bit, kind of fall away. It goes over here. Okay, that's kind of cool. All right, so I'm gonna say that's gonna be my camera one. Now my camera two, I want to kind of have it be a different camera so I can change up how this scene unfolds. So the next one I'm gonna go to create cameras. This one's gonna be camera and aim. I'm going to take this camera aim, just move the whole set over here. The way this aim works is that it's going to aim at this little target over here, and we can parent this target to whatever object we want, which will help us keeping our airplane intact, right? If I take this guy here, for example, I want to give me just I bring it over here, and as I move it over here, you can watch the camera over here move. See how it's tilting? Okay. And I'm just going to take this guy, it's already selected, and this is an object in the scene. I can shift select now. Again, the control over here, hit P for parent. So now this guy is parented into this one. So now, wherever this goes, so will the aim. So the aim's bobbing. And that means that the camera over here, keeping it in view. Okay, so let's see how that looks. We're going to go to panels, perspective, and camera 2. Okay, so now it's getting ready to take off. See how the focus is making it to where, as it's flying by, we get both of them, right? That's cool. So now we have this ground mounted camera, right? Makes it to where we now have a completely different shot we can use for our rendering. Okay. So last one I want to do is just a front mounted camera. And it's going to be just a regular camera again. And I'm going to parent it also to the master control. And it's going to be just like the rear control. It's just going to give me a front angle. So I'm going to go to panels, perspective, and camera 3. Kind of zoom in like this. And then on frame 1, it's bobbing. And I'm just going to rotate over here, S, and then over 60 frames, it kind of bobs down. And about right here. So as it's getting ready to take off, I'm going to have it up here. Actually, maybe I'll get closer to the water. See how that looks. Yeah, I like that. I have like this side flyer that actually works out really good. Okay, see how it looks from the start. Let's press play. There we go. All right, so that gives me a lot of different camera angles I can play with for my final renders. So like for my first camera shot, I would probably rotate between these different views, or between these different cameras. So starting out on in the beginning here, I probably have from here to maybe here would be this camera, and then I would go back to camera one, maybe do the same thing where it's just got a little bit on this side as well. So just fade over that one. And then as it's getting ready to take off for camera three, or not camera three, camera two, which is the main camera. Get this one here, so it'd be 120 to 180, or maybe not that far. Maybe 120 to 160, maybe it's getting ready to take off there. And then switch back over to camera three, get the takeoff from here to the trees, and then go back to camera two and get this bit here from like 160 to 210, and then that would be it. So I would render out this entire sequence. Like I know you're hearing me say like which segments I would take, but I'm talking about this would be like for my post where I would take some After Effects and splice up which segments of this I would take in whole. I want to render out all of it, that way I can have all of it to pick from. I can always delete off the parts I don't want. So when it comes to render setups, I would go to my render settings here, and underneath the common tab, I would make sure I start out by picking my IFF. I would switch that over to PNG. I go to name.number.extension and turn this down to from single frame down to just name.number.extension. Frame 1 to, let's say, 230. Perspective, sure, we can do camera 1 to begin with. HD 1080 is fine. Well, that's good. Underneath my software, currently it's at low quality. Go ahead and turn this at least to medium quality or high quality. The higher the quality, the longer it's going to take to render, but I'm going to turn it to at least medium quality. Okay, so from here it's good to go ahead and switch this off. Now, when it comes to your other camera views, just as a note, because I'm not going to be going through these in the videos, You'll go from camera 1 to camera 2 to camera 3, making sure that before you do any of this that your path is set up correctly. So if you see how it says path, users, Coral, desktop, airplane project, images, it should go into your images folder of your project. Now if your project isn't set up right because it's going to a different destination, then you just need to close this and go to File, Set Project, Airplane Project, and Set. That'll make it to where the path this renders out to will be in the predictable spot. Okay, so from here, you'll just go down to, let's see here, rendering, renderer, and batch renderer. Now, if you have more than one, if you're on a Mac, you don't really have a lot of control over this, but if you're on a PC, you can open this up and you can uncheck this and say how many processors you want to use. In a lot of Macs, they have this ghost out to where you can't actually pick how many processors you want to use, but in some cases, they do allow you to pick how many processors. So let's say you want to work on another project, but don't want to let your computer just render for the next 12 hours, whatever, however long your scene is going to take to render. You can uncheck this. And let's say you have 16 processors. You can say, I'm just going to give 6 to this one, and then say batch render. And that'll let you still have some processing power with your computer. So from here, you can just go ahead and say batch render and close. And Maya will go ahead and start off its rendering process. Now, I'm not going to be sitting here making you guys watch this whole thing render. We're at about 22 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and stop here. In the next lesson, I will have all 3 of my camera shots rendered, and I will show you how we're going to bring it all into After Effects and set it up for our final composition. All right, so thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next lesson.